Hi guys, Becky here, Aunt Beck's Creations, and I just got a urge to come on and just do some stuff with you guys and chat. Oh, that fell all the way to the bottom, didn't it? Figures. I'll have to dig that out later. But I know Beth's on, but I didn't want to paint, and I just wanted to come on and share what I did today. I kind of snuck in and joined in with Lisa and Tanya in an impromptu, and I did the transfers where you just put acrylic paint down and then you put your picture down, face down into the paint, and then you have to wait and let it completely dry. And then, you wet the back of the paper just like you would if you're doing a tape transfer, and you rub it away. And these were my results. So there's the little foxes, and there's some fish, and some of them cleaned up better than others. Here's a little Volkswagen van. This girl, I had some trouble. I got to rubbing too hard and rubbed a hole in her skirt. And then this one was on really thick paper, and I had a horrible time with it. But this is good enough to use like in a journal. And this little girl, she turned out really good. The cheaper the magazine, the better, I think. Like Woman's Day and that kind of stuff. If you look through and pull things from their ads, like those two little foxes were from an ad, if I remember right. And I used just a cream paint in the background. This one didn't completely, you can see the foggy white bits on here. And I tried several times to get it off, and it starts pulling away. So I'm going to say this one's good enough. It's more fish. This generational photo, which was in a magazine, it didn't turn out too good either. All the papers, it depends on the magazine. Like this one's still got some foggy paper on it. I mean, I could try, but I'm afraid I'm going to pull a hole in it, and it doesn't look horrible. And it could be like an accent on a journal page. So those were those. I wanted to go ahead and quickly show how to do the 9-point mandala with a compass that Barb did during her class the other day. If anybody's interested in this, I'm going to just walk you through. I finally figured out what I was doing wrong. And when I figured it out, I felt like hitting myself in the head because I was like, you are such an idiot. But I finally figured it out. So the first thing you have to do is you have to find the center of your page, of your piece of paper. And this piece is, I've got a quilt ruler here. It looks like it's supposed to be 8 1/4. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trim this to 8 inches. It'll make it easier. I'm going to make an 8-inch square, because this is just for demonstration. This is not for anything. So any 8-inch piece of paper, whatever you have laying around, we'll just do an 8-inch square this time. And I just wanted to do a quick work your way through this so I could show Ann if she's around. Ann Lar. Hi, Ann. I'm doing this for you. Because I just felt like such a dork when I finally figured out what I had done wrong. So with the quilt ruler, to find the dead center, it's an 8-inch square. So if I just line my ruler up with the 4-inch on one corner, that's my dead center. So let me line up there. 4 inches here and 4 inches here. Okay, and then I'm going to get this pencil, and I'm going to put a dot right there, and maybe a line out here, real light line. That's just to line up my compass. All right. I might have to go darker just so you guys can see it. All right. Now on the compass, when you line it up, oh, I don't know. Let's see. Give me a second. I'm just trying to grab a piece of something that's got a little bit of color to it. This will work, I think. Yeah, you can see it. All right. What you're going to line up, there's a line that stands up above the bottom. You see, here's the bottom edge where all the marks are. There's this line right here. And then if you go over toward the center, there's a dot right there. That dot, you're going to line up with the center point. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take that dot that's right by the number 3 and line it up, and then line your other line up here where you drew a line across, and then put a dot in the center. Put your dot in the hole, and then line this line up exactly. Oh, hang on just a second. Tea kettle. I'm coming. All right, so get that dot in the middle of your hole there, and then line your line up so that the zero is on the line. Then what you'll do is mark at the 40 degree, every 40 degrees. So put a little teeny mark at 40, 80, 120, 160, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to take my paper, turn it around, and what I did with mine is I put my little dot right back in the center, but I lined my line up with the last mark I made. And I went back and did 40 and 80, 120, and 160. So that I'm still doing every 40 degrees. All right, but I still need another mark over here. So I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to line my little mark up, my little dot in the middle, and this line that comes across, I'm going to line it up with one of these other marks that I just made, but make sure your dot is right in the middle. And then you can see there's where it is with the 80. So we need to do 120. And then this should match up just about on at the 160 over here. Does that make sense? So as long as your dot is in the middle, you can move your compass around as long as you line your line up with one of the marks you made, and then go 40 degrees more and 40 degrees more and 40 degrees more. So by the time you get done, you should have 9 marks here. So let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's how you get the 9. So, Anne, did that help? Okay, then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your straight edge, okay? And like Barb said, you don't try to match this mark, the center, and then one of these marks. It's never going to work. So what you do is you line up, get your ruler on your dot in the center, and then at the bottom of the line, right at the bottom of the line, pretend there's a dot there. And you're going to line your ruler to the center and to the what you would say is your bottom dot. Take and draw from the center all the way out to the edge of the paper. Then we're going to turn the paper, line up with the dot in the center and the bottom of your mark that you marked from your compass. You're going to line that up, not with the line, with the very bottom of the line. So you'll have where it looks like it's drawn out, but really what you're aiming for is that very little tip where it was against the compass, okay? And then you'll start in the center, from the center dot, and draw all the way out to the edge. Turn it, and you do it again. So just pretend there's a little dot at the end of your mark that was against the compass. Hit your dot in the middle, the dot there. Draw from the center dot out. And I found it easier to draw from the center dot out instead of in toward the center, but that's just me. And you just keep going around, and when you get all the way around, you'll have 9 sections. So I'm going to make a little fat dot at the bottom of my line. So I'm aiming for it. And it does help me if I put a little dot at the bottom so that I'm not trying to line the thing up with the total line, because it probably will not match. Okay. This one actually lines up with our first line that we did to find our center. It's just about dead on, which makes sense because it's 360 degrees, right? All right. When I get this last mark, I'll look and see if you guys have any questions. I start at the center and go out. It's whatever works best for you. Whatever motion you'll get that works for your abilities is the one you'll need to use. But the guidelines are the same. So see, now we should have 9 sections. So if I start in this corner, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there you go. I got 9 sections. And when I finally figured it out, let me grab the ones that are over here. What I did is I took the one I did with Barb yesterday. Let me pull that one out. And I didn't add enough lines to do the full one. You see, yesterday with Barb, I ended up with this one that has 10 sections. So last night I figured it out, and here's the 9-sectioned one. You can see how they're different. But what I'm saying is I didn't do enough circles around, and this is so much smaller. I altered it a little bit, and I still have the points and this piece, but then I just brought the outside border down onto it. So I hope that helped you, Anne. Yay! It helped Anne. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to come on to do. I can do a mandala with you guys real quick. I hope Barb doesn't mind, but I can do one that's just something of my own makeup in my own mind. So if I start off with a small circle, and Barb is right about one thing. If you put the point in the middle and hold it up and then turn your paper, instead of trying to turn the compass or the protractor, it works so much better. And I'm just going to adjust my lines out a little bit. Point it, try to get it back in the same hole I did to begin with, and then just turn your paper. And then I'm just going to roll it out a little bit more. And you can design your own mandalas. You can just pick the spacing you want to use and go for it. And leave some space on the edge in case you want to add something farther out. I'm just going to draw this around. And then I'll tell you how many lines. But that's all you do. You just keep adjusting your protractor until you get the number of circles you would like to do. And then it's like Barb says, pick something and just do it. Start in the middle, and whatever you choose to do it all the way around. And then choose something else, do it all the way around. Choose something else, do it all the way around. And before you know it, you'll have your own mandalas. I started a tiny one the other night. Where is it? These are the sizes I like to use, like 3-inch squares. You can make tiny ones like that. I haven't done any decorating. And I switched the pencil out. You had sent me a thick graphite. I switched it out to a finer pencil that'll erase easier. That's what that shadowing is, was the darker pencil. So, anywho, I don't want to give away Barb's secrets on how she does it. But like if you want a star in the middle, you have to choose where you want your points to be and where you want them to come down, how far. And that's an eyeball thing. So like if we marked just a little dot in this in between, let's do every other one here. 1, 2. So I did one here. I'm going to skip this one. Do one here. Skip this one. Do one here. Skip this one and do one here. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? You know what we could do? We could do I'm going by the seat of my pants. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm making this up as I go along. I have not done a sample in advance. Well, I'm just going to mark the little halfway mark between all of them. Just kind of eyeball where the center of each section is. And then eyeball a certain distance down on each of these. And after you do it a couple times, you know, you'll be able to eyeball pretty good. And these are just little guideline marks you're putting on here. They'll get erased later. Okay. So then come from the center down. And then go from that, the marks that you put around this way, you're going to put a line between those two. And you'll end up with a little star in the middle. And if do it in pencil first, because you can erase any boo-boos. Okay, so now we've got a star in the center. Hi, let's see, Lori, Kathy, Ann, Mindy, Journey, Holly. Let's see, who else? Who else? Jean. Hi, Jean. Hi, Molly. Scrolling up here, Ann. Janet. Okay. I think that's got everybody. If I missed you, hello. And now what I'm going to do is, let's see. What do we want to do next? Let's do some, find the center up here. I'm making this design up as I go along. So you go up to this next line up here and kind of mark your center. Choose something and do it all the way around. So that's what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to do, I want to do like a half moon like this, okay? So will these all match exactly? No. See, I don't like that one. I want it to come all the way to the line. If you erase something from the previous line, go back and fix it. All right, so these might be a little weird shaped. There we go. All right, come up. And you can do kind of sketchy lines because you can erase it. All of the pencil will be gone over with a marker. The main thing I wanted to show is how to get the angles for this. And they're not all meeting, but I can make adjustments on it when I'm doing the marker. But once the marker's down, it's a done deal. Okay. So let's see, what do we want to do next? All right, let's go from this point up to the top with like an arch. So if we come and we do like arches to the center there, and an arch back to the center here, and an arch back, arch back. So I'm using the top of the next line, and I'm using the guide line that comes out, and I'm using the mark I used at the top of this circle. So I'm going from this round here, at the top of this line, and do like an arch. And I am constantly moving this paper. I don't try to make it sit still or nothing. I'm constantly shifting it back and forth to get the paper in a position that the movement to make the shape is comfortable for the way my hand wants to work. And I just find it easier to move the paper than to try to contort myself into a comfortable position. All right. And so as you add things, that's where the magic happens, and you start seeing these tremendous, wonderful things just appear. Okay. Let's do some, I call these seeds. I can't remember what Barb called them, but I like to do where you come out a ways and come up, and they look kind of like a cantaloupe seed. A cantaloupe seed hugging the line. There you go. I'm going to have to research. She was talking about an 11 section one I just need to know what the degrees are to get an 11 section one. I might look it up online and see if somebody else say, what that is. All right, so you see it's starting to look like you don't have a compass, Holly? Ann sent me one, and I already had one. If Ann's okay with it, I'll pop one into the mail to you, Holly, so you can have a compass, because it really helps. Do you have a protractor? Yeah, a protractor. That I don't have an extra of, but you kind of need it to make the circles. The compass is cool. I just ordered the circular one, and I'm going to get a 2-pack of those. It comes in as a 2-pack from Amazon. All right, let's see. What do I want to do now? Let's go back down to this line here and make a little mark in the center of each of those. It gives you your eye somewhere to land. And what I'm going to do, something different. All right, I'm going to make another arch that comes from the top of this and come back down to the center there. And we'll come back down to the center over here. Oops, see, that's why I've got to turn it so that I'm getting the same angle. And sometimes it's better to do all of one side of it. So all you're doing is turning the paper and making the arch. Because when you're going in the mirrored direction, you have to think of how your hand will need to move to get the same motion. All right. So now if I think about this, for this other way, I want to start at the top here and come down. Yeah, I think that's how it'll work best. So let me come back over here and do this one. And once you learn the different ways that you can make shapes, you can create your own mandalas. And they become addictive. I told Scott, I said, I'm going to need to take a break from these because my neck is really starting to bother me. You didn't have the tools and you didn't pay the fee, so I didn't want to cheat. Well, the fee was only for access to the Zoom sessions, Holly. You could have played along. And I'll send you one of these. Oops, one of these things. I'll send you one of these, but I don't have an extra one of these. The protractor. I think I have that right. Or is that this is a compass, that's a protractor. Scott keeps correcting me and telling me I'm saying the wrong things. And I said, I'm sorry. All right. What do we want to do on this next row? The only thing is you had to participate on the days because Barb is not leaving them on YouTube. They will become available on letsgetcreative.com on her website. It will be offered as a course later on. It's not sure when, but it'll be available later. But I thought it would be a great way to spend Mondays, Wednesdays. So yeah. All right. So now let's see. What do we want to do for the next one? All right. I'm only going to take this as far as putting the marker down and erasing the guidelines. So, excuse me. I got to come up with a design to go here and here. And see, even here, you could add another seed in the middle. Or a teardrop. Barb likes these teardrop shapes like this. And then she'll do another one out to the side. So you have like 3 little teardrops all together. We could do that on all of these. So do a teardrop like that, and then come up with a smaller teardrop that's kind of peeking. And see, that one's, I'll make the adjustment. I'm trying not to go too dark with the pencil because I want to be able to erase it. I don't know. I find these kind of calming. Just choose something and do it all the way around. All right, so we've gone all the way around. Now, if we wanted to, we could take the centers of all those teardrops that we just did, go all the way around here, put a little mark at the center of the teardrop. All right, and then do a line from this line to this line. So, and what you'll get here is more star points. Are these all going to be dead on? Probably not. But it will still look cool. But yesterday, you know, Barb was moving so quickly, and I just could not figure that out, Anne, for nothing. I just was like, this is just not going to work. You know what? I'm just going to do a 10 point, and then I'll come back and look at this when my mind is not wanting to keep up with Barb. All right. Yeah, I've been taking pictures with my camera, so I know all of the decorations, like I might not have them all done by the time she gets done with a lesson. So yeah, you get a calming rhythm, and then it's a stress reliever. I'm just cruising through. Am I going too fast? All right. Let's see. What do we want to do? I kind of like the twisted ribbon thing that we did around the edge on this one right here. This twisted ribbon. What you do is divide each of these sections up with your eyeball into thirds. So do a light line like that. And then one about there. These will be erased. Are these all going to be perfect? No. I went and ordered a whole bunch of different pens too. Oh, I ordered glaze pens and some metallic pens, and Barb's got me hooked. All right, so now they're all divided into 3. What you do is you eyeball the center of each of these lines. You go from that center to this center. So if you needed to, you could go and put a little mark at each one of these. But then you just take your pencil, go down to the line, and then come back up. And then you do the same on the other side. And see, if you have the lines there, it might be a little easier. But this is probably going to blow your mind, but that's how Barb taught it. And that what I found is easier for me is to just go down to this line, come back through the middle of this one. I said it was easier. Maybe I should put the guide dots to aim for. So you put a little dot in the middle here, one here. Okay. And you don't have to be too particular because everything gets erased later anyway. But when I was doing this on my own last night, I just started doing this number up to this line, back down to this line, back up to that line. It's easier once you have the lines down. But once I had those lines down, I went in with my marker and I just followed, like I went, and then I'd come back and go the other way. So maybe you do need to do the portions like Barb says. But once I had them down, I was racing around that thing. It was just like, no problem. Give you a little dot there to aim at. Little dot, little dot, little dot. These are just your guidelines. When you get your marker out, if you see there's a chance to where you could maybe even it out a little bit more, you can with your marker. Just keep in mind that once you make a mark with a marker, it's a done deal. You can't take that marker away. I see the chat moving, but if I look up to look at the chat, I'll mess it up. So give me a minute. I'm almost around. And once you've done some mandalas, you can think up your own designs on the fly. You'd be surprised at how quickly you can think up designs. It's like Barb says, by the time you get to the outside, sometimes you're ready to just move on and design another one. But then you know what? If you just sit and do this part of it, then you can take these with you wherever you go. if you've got to sit in a waiting room somewhere or something, or sit in a park watching kids play or whatever, you could have one of these to just do the doodling part of it. Almost around to the beginning. All right, just like that, we did a quick mandala. Oh, is that Scott? Look at the chat. Yes, dear. Just divide your 360 by 9, whatever division of the circle you desire. So if I divide it by 9, that'll give me the 40. So if I divided it by 11, you're saying that would give me the degrees I would need to do an 11 section, correct? Yeah, my Jelly Roll pens are all old and kind of dry. So it's kind of a toss-up on what will work. But I really like the glaze pens. Oh, and I love these Uniball Signo Gold pens. That's what I used on this. On all of the lines, I used this Signo Gold. And then I colored it with the Inktense Cube. And I actually did some shading by just going back in with more Inktense, just a little bit stronger. So to me, this looks like it should be a fruit bowl, but what I will do tomorrow is I'm going to try to do both of these together while we're playing with Barb, because this is what she's doing tomorrow. Is we're going to decorate this one up, the one that we did with her on Wednesday. She's going to do the doodling part of it, the icing on the cake. So I need to get this one colored in before 2 o'clock tomorrow, because this one will follow her design entirely. This one, because it's got an extra section, I will have to make mental adjustments to make the whatever design she has fit, if that makes sense. And I do kind of try to follow along with her designs. Sometimes I go rogue like Mary and I end up doing my own thing. But that's okay too. Y'all say hi to Scott. He's really bored tonight at work. So, and this one here, I use this green, and it's a glaze pen. And if you can see, I don't know if you can, it gives you a little dimension and it's a little shiny. And now I looked for those pens that Barb used that have like a gold halo. I could not find them anywhere on Amazon. So I don't know if they're not available. She said she's had them for a while, but they're a gel pen, but they have gold in it and it leaves like a halo on it. Yeah, it does look like strawberries and blueberries. That's what I said. It looks like a fruit bowl, and there's some watermelon. My colors are nothing like what Barb had done. So, but that's me. I just do that. So what color should we use? You want me to use a dark blue so you guys can see it? I don't really have I have a black that's got glitter in it. And sometimes it doesn't work. So this part's all going to get cut away so you can, well, this might work. You can test your pens out on the corners because you're going to cut it out. I'm going to use this one. It's a Jelly Roll metallic, and it's got this glitter to it. So I'm not going to keep any of the guidelines I drew. I'm just going to I'm going to go over the sections that I put on here for design. And then you have to wait for this pen to dry. And then you can take a white eraser and go in and erase all your pencil lines. And then you can add your color with whatever you want to add color. And gel roll pens, slow down because that gel has to come out slow. Now, if you wanted to, you could erase some of your lines before you do this part. I just find it easier to leave the guidelines there while I'm doing the inking, and then let this ink dry and erase all those lines. Actually, I'm starting to think I might leave the lines here in the middle as a design element. And when you're coloring around these, or I mean adding the gel pen, do all of the steps just like you did laying it out. And as you go to the outer edge, you're going to have to be more careful that you don't run your hand through this stuff, because the gel pen takes a second, you know, to dry. All right, I'm going to clean the goober off the end of my pen because it looked like there was one. All right, now I'm going to do my circles. Remember, slow down. Got a little wibble wobbly there, but it's all right. Just go slow. Slow and steady wins the race. If you slow down, the ink has time to come out. Oh, Holly, that sounds cool. I've not seen those. Scott's going to say, quit telling her about pens. She's ordered $80-something worth of pens. By the time you add color and all the doodly bits, your irregular shapes won't even be noticeable. Like that circle right there is kind of wibble wobbly. Well, now Scott's got me wanting to try an 11 section. I might do it another time though. I just thought if I showed you guys, see, I shouldn't talk. I'm doing a circle. If I showed you guys how to get the sections and then get you to this point where you putting the ink on, I would let it go at that, because I want this to dry really, really well before I go to erase it. Because if you try to go too soon with the erasing, you'll smudge the ink all over the place, and that won't be good. I find it's better to do part of an arch and then turn the paper a little and finish it out than to try to do the whole sweeping motion, because your wrist does not like to really twist that far. So do half of it and stop, lift, go half. And the thing about it is, like when you're adding color, sometimes you'll go over your lines a little bit. You can always go back in with this pen and darken your lines back up later if you need to. I've done that a couple times. But you do have to, once this ink is on, you have to wait for it to dry and then make sure all your pencil lines that you don't want are erased away before you add your ink colors. Because if you put your color down over the pencil, it's going to seal that pencil in there and you won't get it back off. All right, so the next thing is we did these melon seeds out here. So we're going to go around and do melon seeds all the way around. Makes it look like a spirograph, doesn't it? And if you use a white eraser, you won't smudge everything everywhere. A kneaded eraser works okay too. I just like these white erasers. I actually got these thrifting. So that makes them even better because it was a thrift find. All right, now I'm going to do those outer arches that came down to the middle. And I'm just going to do them all this way first. All right, now we'll do them the other way. See, I didn't do that one too good because I didn't get my paper right, but now it's in ink. We're just going to leave it and just keep going. All right. Now we'll do our little teardrop shaped things here. And give him a little buddy to hug him on the side there. If you start rushing yourself, that's when you make mistakes. So I'm trying to make myself calm down, slow down the motion. It's when you try to speed up or you try to look at the chat or something like that. Hey, Scott's going to start saying that too about the Amazon pen boxes that are going to be coming in. But all of these gel pens are really old, and I'm surprised they even work. See, I'm talking and I messed that up, but we're going to keep going. Oh, I think I'm back at the beginning. All right. And once you get the elements that you added yourself darkened in, you might decide, if you step back and look at it, you might decide that you want to keep some of the circle elements that go around. Instead of having like this all open, I could keep this circle that goes there and divide these petals and have a spot in there. I'm gonna get all of mine done and then decide on that. The only thing is if you go back in toward the center, you're going to have to be extra careful you don't smear your lines that are toward the outer edge. You could even wait and think on it and maybe pull it out again tomorrow and decide whether you really want to add any more lines or not. That went a little skinny, so because I was trying to go too fast. Slow down. I would love to do a mandala on black with just the moonlight colors. I think that would be really pretty. But black is hard to see. Barb had one she did on a dark purple that was gorgeous. All right, and now we got to do our outside here. What's buried in the shed, Holly? Oh, see, I'm too far away and I got a fat line there. Not going to worry about it though. And you notice I'm stopping when I get to like the bottom of a loop or at the center point, and then adjusting my paper. All right, I'm going to keep on going back around so I get the other half of my chain. Now, if you wanted to do just like we did to set it up, you can. But once I have the guidelines there, I just went on a roll. Oh, Laura had to go. Good night, Laura. I didn't do too good there. We're going to ignore it. It's going to be fine. It's supposed to be like that. There goes the evening train through. What time is it? 10:15. See, I missed my line entirely there, but I am not going to worry about it. And we're back at the beginning. Here we go. I'm thinking about keeping this line right here. But once I put this ink on it, you can't lift it back off. So let me think on it a minute. I really want to do that. I kind of think it looks pretty cool as it is. I'm doing it. All right, so I'm going to keep this circle. So I'm going to go ahead and go on my circle line. And if you wanted to, you could take a picture of it. Because sometimes when you take a picture of it and then look at it, you'll say, no, I don't want that in there. All right. Here we go. I kind of like that it's got another circle on it. So what I'll do is I'm going to leave this to dry really, really good. And then I'll take this pencil in and just go over the whole thing to erase all of these pencil lines all the way out to the edge. Go ahead and erase them all. But I'm not going to do it right now because this ink is still wet. All right. So I hope that helped you, Anne, and anybody else that was interested in a 9-sectioned mandala. There you go. And I hope some of you will join in with Barb tomorrow and bring your own design. You know, if you draw one of these up real quick and have it colored in to this point, you could just come and do the fill in and just see the different designs she comes up with on how she fills each section in. It would just be a good way to get ideas if you're into mandalas, which I seem to be really bad right now. And it's all Barb Owen fault. So anyhow, what's everybody up to? Let's just chit chat for a while. I'm not going to put the camera on me because I'm in my pajamas. It's a PJ party. Pajama party Thursday night. You're welcome, Anne. Glad I could help. So it would be, if for an 11-sectioned mandala, 360 divided. What paper did I use? This is just a piece of cardstock on this one. Now this one here is watercolor paper because we splattered the background with, we had watercolor crayons, Neo Color 2s, and got the paint water brush real wet on it and just flicked the color off onto the paper. And that's what this background was. And then all the coloring within this one was the Inktense cubes that I have. I don't have the pencils, so I couldn't get the same effect that Barb did. But sometimes you just take it with whatever you have on hand and just use what you have. And the size, I cut this to 8x8. The sizes that Barb had us doing was 8 1/4, if I remember right. But this one's an 8-inch square of just plain cardstock. Hi, where the book ends. It's a 8x8 piece of cardstock. If you're just getting started into it and you're not going to use any wet medium, if you're just going to use dry stuff, I would say just grab some cardstock because, hey, then if you mess up, it's just cardstock. It's not any watercolor paper. In fact, Barb recommended that you use the cheapest watercolor paper you can find. This was on the garage tonight. It's a Luna moth. I went down, I mowed a little bit, and he was just sitting by the lock. I thought he was pretty. Let's get out of that. So, sections. So that's 32.7272727272 degrees to get 11 sections. Greg's telling me Piper is his oldest cat. That was the only cat we had in the family that we got her for Greg for Christmas the year we had to move up here because I didn't want him to be alone. And she has been pining for me horribly bad. And he finds her in on our bed, looking just so sad. Yep, it's a Luna moth. And one time we saw a king, I can't remember. It was a king emperor moth. That thing was stunning. It was kind of a dark rust orange and yellows. If I could find it, I'd show you the picture, but I'm not sure. I left my pajamas on the bed, and that's why she goes in there. The pajamas I had worn, I left them down there for her. But he said that one day she just was acting like she was having a temper tantrum all day long. He said she'd go through and she'd just tear up a piece of paper for no reason and then knock stuff off. And she was just having a complete fit. Absolute fit, because we weren't down there. They're going to think we got ate by predators, I think. And of course, Greg's missing us too. Sally and Cole, they can take us or leave us. But that's Piper. I don't know if we can get that done. That's my sweet girl. She's got the sweetest, she doesn't meow. She's got this funny little, the vet called her a British short hair, but she squeaks instead of meows. So hopefully Barb won't get upset with me for sharing how to do a mandala real quick, but I wanted to help Anne use the compass. I'm going to try it. Go in here and erase all this stuff. Don't push real hard. These white erasers really are nice. And I just slowly work my way from the inside out, removing all the pencil lines. I try to leave things for Piper so that she doesn't get too upset. And then Greg talks about moving out of state. I don't know. We'll see where he finally lands and what he does. He's got to live his own life. I do miss him. A friend of mine, her dad lost his cat yesterday, or was it this morning, because they couldn't get into a vet. And he's known she's not been well and something was wrong, but he couldn't get anybody to answer the phone. He couldn't get any help, and she passed during the night. I feel so bad for him. Just can't imagine not being able to get care like we have going on right now. You don't think about the animals, but I mean, if the vet's in quarantine or in a stay order, he's not going to be available. So what do we do for our animals? Nobody's answered that question. We know how to keep ourselves safe and everything, but what if our animals get sick? What are we supposed to do then? If you leave all the eraser burgers on until the end, you can just lift this over your trash can and shake them off. I was watching the lady that sits in Drew Carey's seat on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Aisha. Oh, I can't remember Aisha's last name. But she was on live on doing a Zoom meeting with the other members of Whose Line Is It Anyway? And she also did a live with the members, the cast from Criminal Minds the other night. And I watched those, and it was interesting to see how they're combating it and dealing with it and everything. And she said they were talking about how people don't think Whose Line Is It Anyway is on the air anymore. And they were saying they don't really have a publicist, but they are still on the air, but they're on the channel CW, which, you know, we don't get cable, so I wouldn't know anything about that. We don't watch regular television, so we're not really a benefit to anybody that's a TV star too well. I mean, I watch I'll go to CBS.com or NBC.com or any of those and watch things a couple days later. I don't worry about watching them live streaming it, you know, the first night it's on. So if you've been looking for Whose Line Is It Anyway, it's on the CW. I think they said it comes on at 8 o'clock time slot. Yeah, it's Aisha Taylor or Tyler, but she's on was on Criminal Minds and Whose Line Is It Anyway? And see, once you knock them off, you can see where you still missed. And this is where you can come in if you've got some crayons. I mean, not crayons. You don't want to use crayons. You want to use something you can still use your Jelly Roll pens over. But I could color this in with watercolor paints, the ink tints things. I tried to use the Neo Color 2s on the one with the music paper that I did, and I had trouble. I had trouble getting the pens to write on that. Has anybody else had any trouble with the going over? Is there a particular colored pencil or something that you can go over with the Jelly Roll or any markers? Because I found if I use my Prismacolor pencils, man, the Jelly Rolls and the markers do not like those Prismacolor pencils. It's hilarious. I love to watch them. She was also on Ghost Whisperer. I've never heard of that one. Like I said, we don't watch regular TV, so that's probably why I've never heard of it. But once you get your pencil off, as good as you can get it, you can color it in, you know, pick some colors and color in each section, like all of the star points, and then this background section there, the circles there, you could color. What I would probably do is make these points and the part that's the negative of the star, I'd do that all the same color. And if you use, where are they? I'll show you the brush tip markers that I use. I just use Sharpie markers on that one. And then these things that have the brush tips. I really love these things. Oh, they got killed off. Oh, that's not good. I'll go ahead and color some of this. But see, you can color with your markers, and then if you've got some colored pencils, I'm not going to use the Prismacolors again. I also have those Aztec markers. I ought to use some of those for something. I like these Sharpie brush tips because you can get in the points of stuff. But if I could find some colored pencils, I might take and bring in a darker shade of yellow or even an orange and shade sections of this before I start doing the doodles. So I use the yellow. Let's use this pink. No, let's not use pink. That could be all right. That kind of sounds like that British show I watch on Netflix. I watch it on YouTube. Midsummer Murders. Scott will come in. He'll say, "Oh, somebody's gonna die," because he hears the Midsummer Murders music and he's like, "Oh, someone's fixing to die." Or what's the other one? Miss Marple. He says, "Stay away from that Miss Marple. You'll die if you go near her." I watch too many crime shows, I think. One of the homesteading blogs that I watch, Roots and Refuge Farm, their cat got out in the road and got killed last night. Oh, just felt so bad for her. They called him Kitten George. I'm going to do different sections and let some of that dry before I go in with another color, so that I'm not contaminating them. And I started watching that show on Netflix, Lock and Key. That's a creepy show. That's a really creepy show. Yeah, I love Midsummer Murders too. I just love it. And Scott's just, haven't you watched all of those already? And I was like, yeah, I'm watching them back through again. How can you watch them that many times? I'm like, well, they're good to put on in the background. Like if I'm working on sewing and stuff, I can listen to Midsummer Murders and it's just noise in the background for me, but I know the story, so I can visualize the characters and all of that. I think it was Journey, sent me a second set of these. I think it was. Could be wrong. I need to do better about keeping notes about who sends me surprise happy mails. The only thing with these, I love these markers. I don't like the smell of them. I wish they smelled like kid markers. Like this could smell like lime and, punch and maybe lemon. That would be okay. Wish they did have a nice fruity smell to them instead of stinky marker smell. And you can see how I'm going over the lines accidentally every once in a while. Don't worry about that because, like I said, you can come back in and go back over your lines again to bring them back up to the top if you want to. All right. I think I'm going to revisit the yellow, bring it out and put it in what I call the melon seeds here. You don't want to add too many colors and, make yourself crazy. So I think what I'll do is repeat these colors and then choose one more as a background. Oh, they are kind of smelly. But they give such an intense, beautiful color. And then when you take and you use colored Jelly Roll pens over top of them, it's really pretty. Howard, I hear you, bud. You want to come in? Scott asking me, how do you get anything done with these cats? I don't. All right. So let's go back to the pink. Ooh, tacos are ready at Susan's house. I'm in a small area, you guys, so I have to stop talking and hold my mouth just right so that I don't mess up. I mowed part of the lawn tonight and I ran out of gas. And then I said, by the time I walk back up to the top of the drive with this lawnmower, it's going to be getting dark. So I'll mow some more tomorrow. So I'll tackle the yard a little bit each day. Plus kicking up all that dirt and pollen. I was choking my head off out there. It was not comfortable. Teresa says she's having tacos tomorrow. You know what I've been craving really, really, really bad, and it's not really healthy, is hot dogs with chili and slaw. So I'm thinking I might go get up early, leave Scott sleeping, and go get hamburger to make the chili and make hot dogs tomorrow. I might even be bad and sneak and get us some potato chips. Been trying not to bring the unhealthy stuff in the house, but then I turn around and I've been baking. And this morning we had sourdough pancakes. And that recipe said it made 3 servings. I still had 18 pancakes. I'm sorry. I don't think I need a stack of like 12 pancakes. So yeah. But I had fun playing over with Tanya and Lisa today, and a couple of my pieces hit the trash, but most of them I kept. And I'm just going to live with the ones that didn't completely clean up good. I love my hot dogs all the way, and Scott doesn't care for the slaw on it, but I do. Or sauerkraut. I even like sauerkraut. I'll do hot dogs with chili and sauerkraut. Let's see. I want to put the green out here. Let me let Howard in, you guys. He's just rubbing and rubbing on the door. I'm coming, Howard. Hi, bud. Where's your sister? Hey, Callie, you want to come? I'll have to close the windows up here soon. It's getting cool again. I'll put my sweater on. Then maybe I won't be quite so cool. But I've had fun showing you guys a mandala, and I kind of like how it's turning out. Here we call the ones with slaw junkyard dogs. Teresa, we used to have this place that was kind of close to us. They were celebrity dogs. And she got this new girl in there to manage when she wasn't in there. And I don't know what happened, but they closed. not long after that other girl took over management of it during the day. And I don't know if she was stealing. I don't know what was going on, but they closed down, and that was the best hot dogs around here. So Scott said, yours are better than anything else, so I'll just make hot dogs. This screams spring to me, doesn't it? I woke up this morning, and I don't think it was Tippy. I think Callie was under the covers next to me. I think she got cold last night. And she doesn't usually do that. But Tippy, he'll burrow in. He'll get all the way down under the covers. Oh, pork chops sounds good too. You guys are making me hungry. I need to get up early tomorrow and go to the grocery store. I've got a list going. I went the other day, but I don't know. I was kind of freaked out about being out and about. So maybe I'll go to a different store this time. I might just go to the one that's closer to the house here. You know, and get a few odds and ends. Once these start wearing out, you can't get in the points. So you have to be careful that you don't mess your tips up. This is going farther than I thought I was going with it. Once you start these things, doggone, you just can't stop. At least that's what I find. I ought to do one up for each of my siblings and send it to them in the mail. Here comes Howard. Get up in a chair, buddy. My sister said she took a tumble in the yard cleaning up. I noticed on Facebook. Somebody told her that's no way to treat your new knee. She just had a knee replacement. She's 5 years younger than me. You love the repetition of the same colors? I'm going to add one more color to it and fill in all the places that I skip so that it has a uniform color throughout. Howard's getting into my stuff. He's being bad. Be a good boy, Howie. Mr. Howard Huge, as the girl Scott works with calls him. That's Howard Huge. What are you doing? You crazy cat. It is chilling off. Let's see, the temperature says 61. But I don't know if that's for Columbia or for Greenville. These look like eggs to me all of a sudden. Callie, don't be ugly. Yeah, my sister's okay. She, I think it hurt her pride more than anything. She's trying to clean her yard up since she's at home. I guess her husband's still having to work like Scott is. And Greg's having to work too. Greg was telling me today that he might pick up a second job on weekends. And I said, well, you were fussing about you never have any time off. He said, well, it would just be part-time. I was like, okay. Needed to have called Scott's mom today. I wonder if he called her. Scott, are you here? Did you call your mother today? If not, we better call her tomorrow and check on her. I talked with my mom for a long time the other night. She finally got that ornery, mean billy goat loaded up and got him to the auction. She actually got a good price for him. She thought she wouldn't get anything for him because he was so mean. But they got him there, and she made a good bit on him. Now she doesn't have to worry about getting butted by him or the kids getting hurt by him. She said he was just mean. Oh, those doggone trailer hitches, they'll knock you out. I'm serious. They'll take your shins out. We've got a big thing on the back of the truck. We've never hauled anything with it. It came with the truck, but I've hit it. I've walked into it a couple times. It's not pleasant at all. All right. So I'm going to have a background color there and a background color there and there, maybe. Let's see. Or do we want to add one more color to this part and the outer part? Maybe we'll do that and then have a background color. Howard. I'm going to use that blue for something. That is Howard being naughty. Buddy, come on. You want to go back out? You got a meeting? Okay. Go ahead. Callie and Tippy are like, we're staying in. We're indoor cats now. All right. This color here, like I said, you can test it, is a darker purple. I don't know if I want to use that or not. What color do you guys think? Orange, blue. This should be like a grape purple. See, it's a darker purple. Yeah, the tin I got thrifting for like $1.87 or something. Put the yellow on the chain out here. This is where you hope you have enough ink left in the marker that you can get all the way around. Because that's never good if you run out of ink before you're all the way around. I didn't plan to be on too long, and here we are, what, over an hour something? An hour and a half? So my suggestion would be use what you have. But if you are going to do, the doodle work on the inside that really adds the icing to the cake, maybe do a little test swatch of what you're coloring with and see if the pens or the gel roll pens or the markers you're going to do the line work and all the, the little doodads and stuff. Make sure it will write over what you use. I know from past experience, jelly rolls will go right over these Sharpie brush tips. So that's why I'm not afraid to use them. I really like these. What are the markers that Dee Dee is always using? Are they the Crayola Super Tips? I think that's what Dee Dee Willingham uses, is the Crayola Super Tips. I almost ordered some of those too. But I said, well, you've got markers. That's what I thought. She has them like in a big bag, and she just has them where she can grab them all the time. Doesn't Mary have a set too? I think Mary had a set of Super Tips. These markers just don't smell very nice. I might have to get me some of the kid ones that smell like grape and that kind of stuff. See how they'd work. Thankfully, the windows are open, so some of this can dissipate before we have to go to sleep. All right. So for the rest of it that's left open, yeah, they're water-based. Mary uses them. Yep, I thought so. Oh, Joyce's possum's about due. I think ours has already been through. All right, I'm going to let you guys choose. I want a color to go around these that look like eggs right now. I want that to be one color, but I want this color and this color to match. So which one to go around the eggs? The blue, the orange, or the dark purple? The egg things here. Blue, orange, dark purple. Oh, Susan, I'm sorry. The blue for the around the eggs. Then they won't look like eggs anymore. That was my goal. Bernadette, I hear you, honey. We'll take you out one more time before we go night-night. I know. Bernie, don't snuffle at me. I want you to wait till Daddy gets home because I don't like to go out there after dark. So if I had some pencils that my markers and gel pens agreed with, I could come in and do some shading in these sections now. But the Prismacolors, I tried using those and they didn't do very well for me as far as being able to do the doodle bits. Uh-oh. You know, when she really wants to go out, she'll start that thumping. I gave her a bath yesterday because she just reeked. She needs to go to a groomer and get clipped really bad. But of course, they're not open. So she's just going to have to suffer with me giving her a bath every once in a while and all of that. Bernadette, chill, chick. I almost got this thing colored in. Woohoo! And it was just a blank piece of paper when we all got here. And this is just cardstock, so I bet it's bleeding through like crazy. Look at that. Oh, well. Good night, Teresa. Oh. Oh, dear. There are neighbors' dogs that just get out all the time. See, there's dogs that sometimes get let loose around here at night, and I don't like that. With my cats, Howard usually just gets in the rocking chair up on the porch, which they've never got on our porch. They just run through the yard, but I still worry about the kitty cats. Told Scott if we can't get a place on a dead-end dirt road somewhere to avoid traffic, I'm going to make him build me a catio like Holly has. So the cats can be safe. All right. Now, I think because purple is the opposite for the yellow, I'm going to use purple. You don't get as much bleeding with the super markers and buy 100. Okay, I might have to do that. Got some little areas here. Sorry, I went quiet, guys. I just feel like I have to really concentrate hard. Uh-oh. They'll have an angry woman knocking on their door. Are these your dogs? My mother-in-law had a cat. It disappeared last year. It was an old cat that just kind of showed up, but it gave her some comfort. But every time we see her, she tells us, "Don't get me a cat, don't get me a dog. I don't want one." Well, she's 90 something years old. If she doesn't want one, I'm not going to force her to have one. I would never gift a pet anyway, because that's quite a commitment. And I always figure if somebody wants a pet, they'll go get one. I would never gift one to someone because they might not really like animals as much as I do, or they might not have the abilities to really care for them. Bernadette, I hear you, honey. I'm almost done. Bernie. Bernadette. I'm going to finish this coloring and then I'll sign off and take her out. She's getting put out with me. She just went, just a minute, baby. See, now I got some color on the inside of that. I'm not going to worry about it. Ooh. Hi, Mary too. How are you? So tomorrow, when Barb Owen is on, I was thinking of doing a sped up version of me filling in the rest of my mandala from yesterday. I got to get Scott to show me how to do the video capture with the computer. I know how to capture, going through YouTube and just do it as a private. And then after I'm done, I could download it and do all that. But if I capture it and have it on the laptop, then I can edit it with my software on there and not have to do all that downloading and all that stuff. So I'll think on that. We'll see how my day progresses too, because if I'm a bum in the morning and I don't get up early like I anticipate, I might not be all together to do all of that before she goes live at 2:00. Hi, Beth. You're working on a mandala also? This one I just drew because Ann Lar and I both had the same trouble trying to figure out how to use the compass to get all 9 points. So I just kind of threw this one together tonight. Once I figured it out, when I found out Ann was having trouble, I said, well, you know what? I'll just go live and I'll show her how I solved that. I just felt so dorky when I finally figured out what I'd done wrong yesterday with Barb. I was like, why did I make that so much harder than it had to be? But, sometimes it's like my brain latches onto something and it just can't see past where it's stuck. I don't know what it is. Oh, this one really stinks. Why can't they all smell like grape and lime and strawberry and just make all the markers smell like that? Get me some kid markers. Now, there are some scented markers that are absolutely vile. We used to sell them at Michael's. I thought they were horrible. So, yeah. And this morning, I watched Peg Robinson and Shel C do their pick a stick. And I was watching that while I was cooking breakfast. We eat breakfast about 11 o'clock. And then I have to turn around and have lunch done by 1 o'clock because Scott has to leave for work by 2:30. So it's like we eat breakfast and lunch back to back because we don't eat anything late at night. We just get up when we do and eat 2 meals back to back. And the dietitian looked so puzzled when I went to see her about how to set up proper diet for diabetes and all. She was like, you need to have at least 4 hours between meals. I said, yeah, in your life that might work, but for me that doesn't work. I've got a man that's got to eat at these times to be able to function. See, I was talking and I messed that up. But it's in marker. It's permanent. It's there. It's done. Nothing you can do about it. Design around it. This is very Easter baskety. Bernadette, I'm coming, honey. I'm almost done. Ta-da! There we go. All done in one evening. Night, Lisa. I'm going to let you guys go. I've got a dog that's over here going at me, so I guess it's time for me to go. And I want to thank you guys for stopping in, and thanks for the thumbs up and all. And I will catch some of you during Barb's Live tomorrow at 2 Eastern. Of course, Mary will be on tomorrow night. I don't know if she's doing tomorrow morning, but Mary Dale Abrams, the Mary LTA, will be on tomorrow night. And then somebody's coming on Saturday. Is that... I can't remember who's doing Saturday and who's doing Sunday. I think Tanya does Sundays. I don't know. All right. Good night, guys. Thanks for stopping in. Bye.